If I could sit across from my younger self, these are the things that I would tell her. I have a list of 11 regrets from my life journey. I am 60 years old and I've had a lot of time to reflect, and these are the things that I wish I would have done differently. The first thing is, I wish I wouldn't have made relationships the center of my identity. When I was younger, relationships kind of defined me. If I would be with this person, I would feel more love. If I would be with that person, I'd be more content. I made that relationship complete me. It is different now. I have learned to complete myself, and I wish I could go back to my younger self and change that and save myself a lot of heartache and time and energy. Another thing I wish I would have done differently is financial planning. I was such a heavy consumer throughout my life. I did not think about the future when it came to money. I did not think about retirement when it came to money, or what it would mean to me in my years that I'm in now to have that asset. Instead, I was thinking about, what can I buy next? How can I make more money to get that house? Or how can I save money to buy that new piece of furniture, or to go on that trip, that vacation, whatever it was all about consumerism. It was never about planning. And that was a big mistake on my part. At 60 years old, I'm regretting this now, and I wish I could go back and change how I handled that. Another shift in mindset that I wish I would have changed is health choices. Being the age I am now, I see how my health choices throughout my life have affected me. If I could go back and do it differently, it wouldn't just be, I wish I could exercise, or I wish I would have started eating right. It would have been a mindset. I wish it wasn't a burden. It would just simply be something that was part of my life, something that was part of who I am. I would think about what I put in my body. I would think about how I was going to stay fit and healthy so that I could circumvent some of the issues that I have today. And not only that, but it's a good stress reliever. And if I could go back again, I would also ingrain that in my children and have it become part of their lives. Maybe we would have more fitness activities on our weekends. Maybe we would just live a little differently. Another thing I would change is the lack of deep self-love that I didn't have. If I had loved and valued myself deeply earlier, it could have changed the outcome of every other choice that I made in my life. This is the one thing that changes pretty much everything. Had I loved myself deeply, I would have taken care of my financial future. I would have taken care of my health. I would have valued myself more than I valued relationships. Everything circles around this one core regret. I wish I would have done it sooner, but I'm doing it now. And it is indeed life-changing. And had I had this mindset at the beginning of my journey, who knows where it could have taken me and how it could have changed things. Another thing that I wish I would have done differently is move less. I moved a lot, and I had many houses. I wish that I would have purchased a house in a good neighborhood, stayed in one place. I had a lot of houses. I am a creative person, and I think that I used my homes as like my canvas. So I would fix up a home, and then I'd be done, and I'd need to start a new one. Well, this wreaked havoc on finances and stability. And although it was exciting for me, I wish I would have done differently for my family. I just wish my kids had this place, that they could call home forever. And I wish I would have stayed there and paid it off. And my retirement years would be so different than what I'm experiencing now. What a regret I have, and not just finding the right place, staying there, making it work, and the freedom it would have given me in my later years, and the comfort it would have given my family throughout the decades. I also regret leaving self-employment. I was self-employment for a long time, I think over 20 years. And for some reason I got it in my head that I wanted to be working in a corporate environment. I wanted to get a paycheck. I wanted to have health insurance and days off, vacation days, all those things that you get, all those perks. But the one perk you don't have is freedom. And I miss that freedom. I always had the freedom to be there for my kids' events. I always had the freedom to work less than I wanted to and have free time when I needed that. But boy, once you're anchored into that job, once you're anchored into a career, you're kind of stuck. And that's where I'm at. And I regret that freedom because I think that if I would have had that throughout my whole life, I think my journey would have been so different, my journey with my family. But now I'm wishing that I could break free from it, but it's very difficult, as most of us know. And I wish I could go back and change that choice that I made long ago. Another great regret is ignoring my intuition and letting my self-determination guide my path. There are many times in my life where I could have saved myself a lot of stress, fear, heartache, time, had I listened to my intuition. That comes up in relationships. It comes up in choices like job changes or buying this or that house or buying this car or leasing a car once, which got me into a lot of trouble. I knew I shouldn't do it. I felt it in my gut, but I did it. So if I could go back, I would understand how valuable it could have been to me in my younger years. Intuition is there for a reason. It is a safety button that gets pushed and flashed on when we need it to. And so often we just kind of put it to the side because we want to do what we want to do. But boy, now I listen to that. I feel that thing when I meet somebody, that thing in my stomach. I know right away, this is not good for me. A decision that I want to make, I know right away, don't do it. And I listen to it. So if I could go back and tell my younger self, I would tell her, listen to your intuition. That is your safety net. Another regret I have is dating while I was parenting. I was a single parent for a long time, and it's not just about the dating. It's also about longing and seeking for that kind of companionship. I now only long for having those cherished moments with my kids during those times. I wish I could go back and not be sidetracked by the focus on somebody else and only focus on what was in front of me right then. And that all circles back to feeling whole and knowing who you are inside and being comfortable with yourself and not looking for somebody to complete me. Had I had all that, I would have had so many more precious moments that I feel like I missed because my focus was elsewhere. If I could do it all over again, I would be so happy and so blessed and feel so much joy to do that differently. Another thing I regret is staying in relationships too long. People come in and out of our lives for a reason. They aren't always meant to stay. When things start to change, sometimes it's time to let go. Sometimes it's time to hunker down and do a better job, but other times it's time to say goodbye. But often I stayed too long, and that caused me a lot of heartache, a lot of stress, sometimes a lot of financial problems. And it just, if I could have done it differently, if I would have let it go naturally, I think I would be in a different place today. I think I would have bought myself a lot more time. I also regret taking on debt. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but for the most part, I did it as a heavy consumer. I wish I would have been more satisfied with the things that I had and with less. I wish I could have lived more within my means and been happy. It's kind of a trend now to really look at that and focus on that. So it's really brought my attention to it. And I've really started to regret some of the choices that I made throughout my life. I think that I would be in a different place in retirement at this age. I think I would have set a different example for my kids. I think I would have avoided a lot of pitfalls and a lot of stress. So if I could go back, I would do it in a more conscious way. Another regret I have is living for achievements instead of the moments. Always chasing something bigger and better. I think a lot of people do this, and I did it my whole life. I'm a high achiever. I have a lot of ambition. I have a lot of energy, and I want to just keep moving. But boy, if I could go back to those tender years, tender moments with my kids, and just understand how small of a period of time I had, or just different times in my life, not just with my children, but with myself, just cherishing those, living in those moments and not looking for, boy, if I got this bigger house, I would be happier, or if I got this other job, I would be happier and more content, and start chasing that and start chasing all these dreams when really the dream is right in front of us. We're missing it. It's just that boring, stale day, and we want something bigger. We want something more, or at least I did a lot of times in my life. Boy, how I'd love to go back and just live those boring, simple days, those boring, simple moments, instead of always chasing something better. So that's it. These are some of my regrets in life. I can't take it back. I can't go back. All I can do is share them with you. And maybe you will, maybe you won't get something out of it. But if you have some regrets in life, I'd love to hear them. I think it's good to share them with each other so that we can learn from one another.